I can send it to you.
New picture of her? Like
It's cute.
Definitely show a picture of this to Austin.
She seen it on TikTok and had to do it. All right, take his old fat self back to the trailer. I want to video his whole butt the whole way.
Just a reminder, cars get ridiculously hot very quickly when we have heat like this. Average highs in Nashville are above the 90-degree mark right now. An outside temperature of 90 degrees, the inside of your car, if it is in the sun, gets to about 110. After a half hour, 124 degrees, and after 60 minutes, just with an outside temperature of 90, not above 90, it gets to 133. If we push that outside temperature to 100, in the sun, the inside of the car can get up to 170 degrees in 60 minutes. Pets, kids, again, it's just a reminder, we hear this every year, do not leave them in the car for even a short amount of time. I mentioned heat index. Well, we feel that a lot more here than we do in, say, places like Vegas, because you combine the relative humidity, what makes you sweat the second you walk out the door, with the actual air temperature. In the chart here, the higher you go with the actual air temperature, which is on the top of this chart, the less humidity you need to feel really abrasive. The cooler the temperature, the more humidity you need to crank up the heat index. For us tomorrow, heat index values could easily, once again, hit 100 degrees.
Well, I put out that call on social media asking you, our viewers, for questions for Dr. William Schaffner, one of the top infectious disease experts here at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Some of you sent me questions about the FDA approval process for the vaccine. Others of you had questions and concerns about side effects. President Joe Biden announced today he wants to motivate Americans to get the COVID vaccine.
So today, I'm calling on all states and local governments to use funding they have received, including from the American Rescue Plan, to give $100 to anyone who gets fully vaccinated.
For some Tennesseans, though, they said they feel like it's a bribe. Others said they want full FDA approval. The vaccines have an emergency use authorization right now. Has the FDA given a timeline for when the vaccines might have that full approval?
The FDA never gives an exact timeline, but what we've heard is that hopefully by the end of August, beginning of September.
Dr. William Schaffner is an infectious disease expert at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. He said the emergency use authorization proves the vaccine is safe, but he understands why folks may want to wait.
Personally, lots of people do say we're waiting for full approval. That will give them a sense of reassurance and comfort that, yep, it was good after all. Now I'm ready to get it.
Some of you on Twitter said you would get the vaccine once it was fully approved. Others said you wouldn't. On Facebook, many of you expressed concerns about getting the vaccine, from allergies to long-term side effects. I reached out to many of you. No one would do an interview. Schaffner says long-term side effects should not be a concern. He said of the vast majority of vaccines for all diseases, long-term side effects don't exist.
The vast number of side effects that occur within 2 and with a stretch 3 months. None of them, zero, have any long-term effects that show up a year later or 2 years later or 5 years later. That just doesn't exist.
Most of the counties in Middle Tennessee are hovering around 35% for full vaccination rate.
I reached out to the 11 senators who did not sign that letter. I heard back from a handful of them. They each have their own message, but overall the reason seems to be they don't feel like it's their place to get involved. But some doctors say their platform could save lives.
2,500 new coronavirus cases in Tennessee in one day, and no sign of slowing down. The recent spike worrisome for local doctors who have seen the worst of the worst.
And I am very concerned as a physician who is still actively working in emergency departments that we're heading that way again.
Dr. Katrina Green says the vaccine is the best tool to prevent more deaths. And with just under 40% of Tennesseans vaccinated, she's calling on local leaders to step up and help spread the word, not the virus.
We don't have that leadership by example from Governor Lee and from several other state leaders.
Some Republican lawmakers now encouraging Tennesseans to get vaccinated in a new letter. The letter says people should talk to their doctors and get the vaccine, barring any religious or medical exemptions. But 11 state senators did not sign the letter.
That sends a message that they disagree with the sentiments of their colleagues who say that the vaccine is safe and that people should get it.
I asked those 11 lawmakers why they didn't sign. 4 responded, including Senator Carrie Roberts. A statement reads in part, "I was elected to be a state senator, not a doctor. It's neither my place or expertise to provide medical advice." Senator Paul Bailey shared a similar view.
I'm not for sure that politicians should be in the mix of always asking people to get the vaccine when there's plenty of information that has been ongoing for months now since the vaccines have come out.
In the letter, it says that they don't think the vaccine should be political.
Exactly, and so that's another reason that I didn't necessarily think that I should be signing on to the letter if we're not making it political.
Dr. Green also encourages consulting your doctor, but says encouragement from local leaders could make all the difference in saving a life.
2 of those 11 senators who did not sign also serve on the State Health and Wellness Committee. That's Senators Rusty Crowe and Joey Hensley. Neither replied to my request for comment.